Welcome back inside another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy Lee McNelis. Lady Eagles closing up the regular season, heading towards senior day, heading into yet another road trip this week as the Lady Eagles will head down to Boca Raton to take on the Owls of FAU. And we start the show going back and taking a look at the week that was. And for the Lady Eagles, they knew it was going to be a challenging week. Hope sprang eternal, getting Shantae Hales back into some limited role against North Texas. And let's start there, and let's go back, very briefly touch on the first half, and then really focus in, Joy, on the second half where the Lady Eagles were able to have just Shantae's presence on the floor and made a nice run to cut it to 4 late in the ballgame.
You know, in the first half, Josh, we really struggled getting off. And again, it's just flow. I mean, without Shantae, it's just an ongoing struggle for us. But in the second half, having her on the floor a little bit more really made a big difference. Defensively, we really cranked up things coming out of halftime, made some changes, cut it to 10, cut it to 4. And again, I just think that Shantae Hale's presence made the biggest difference. You know, she tried to do, honestly, a little bit too much because she just thought everything would happen. And then we ran in 2 plays that were long passes that really wasn't even supposed to go to her. She was just a decoy, but we ended up tossing it to her. Then on her drive to the basket where she planted on both feet, planted on that bad leg and suffered just unbelievable pain there, and now she's had a setback with that. So again, I think that we can all understand that there's so many teachable moments in those games, but particularly in that second half against North Texas, because 40 seconds to go, North Texas has the ball, and all we've got to do is have a lockdown defensive moment. And we did not make that happen. We did not guard the ball and be able to keep it out of the paint. And I truly believe that if we could have made that stop, it would have given us a tremendous amount of momentum to be able to go down and score. And that game could have been a different outcome. But North Texas, I think we lost the game, honestly, in that first half when we didn't play so well. But again, big difference when Shantae Hale's on the floor with us.
Big difference offensively in terms of flow, and then defensively, you did a much better job on some of their star players. Tyriel Bradley had a big first half. She was limited in that second half. Didn't even look to score as much because of what the Lady Eagles were doing.
You know, and Allery Mays was helping guard the point guard, and then, you know, she's our best on-ball defender. So with Dump playing a little bit, we were able to switch Allery Mays over to Tyriel Bradley. Then Jayla King was guarding Tyriel Bradley a little bit more, Megan Brown, and we just kind of rotated people to kind of keep them fresh on her. And I thought we did. We did just a much better job. The second half, the entire presence was different. And it was because your leader's on the floor with you. And you know, right now, honestly, we're just kind of disjointed without Shantae on the floor for us. And with her getting hurt, then we weren't traveled to Ruston, and that was an absolutely nightmare for us. They shot the cover off the basketball, and we just could never get anything going there.
Well, Coach, and we turn our attention now to Ruston, Louisiana against Louisiana Tech, and a Louisiana Tech team that was really coming off one of those performances late in the ballgame, second half against Charlotte, where they felt like they let that ballgame slip away, blew a 10-point lead. So the Lady Eagles knew that they were going to get the best shot of Louisiana Tech. There were a pair of 10-0 runs in that first quarter, after the Lady Eagles had cut it to 1 with a couple of minutes left in that first quarter, then another 8-0 run. It was just wave after wave of 3-point shooting. In fact, the Louisiana Tech team that was able to make the most threes of any team against the Lady Eagles all year long. You
know, and the thing is, Josh, you're talking about the momentum swing. I mean, we have the basketball, and it's a 1-point game. It's a 1-point game. And then what do? We shoot the ball quick rather than going for a last-second shot. They go down, get an and one, get an offensive rebound off of a missed free throw and a bucket, and now it's a 5-point ball game, 6-point ball game. And just in those little segments where we don't understand time and clock and we're all yelling, you know, last shot, last shot, last shot. And we've done that a couple of times since Shantae Hales has not been with us, of just not being aware of the clock. And, you know, we've met and we've gone over things as a team, and we've really challenged, you know, our returning players to really have a much better focus, even though Shantae's not out there, to understand what we want there. And even though we've discussed it before, obviously all of us need reminders, and so that's what we've tried to do. But Megan Brown, going back to the La Tech game, was outstanding. she tried everything she could to be able to step up and score for this team, rebound for this team, defend for this team. She was truly a difference maker in that basketball game. Unfortunately, she didn't have a lot of help for us to be able to play well together, to be able to get the victory. And again, La Tech played extremely well.
And in closing, just to second that thought about Megan Brown, she really has come to embody everything that Lady Eagle basketball is about this year.
She is. She's just a great individual who is who she is when the lights are on or when the lights are off. When she's in the gym or she's in the house or she's in the classroom or she's at the mall. Megan is the same all the time. And, you know, I think that's why you see so much consistency in who she is, because spiritually, physically, mentally, emotional, Megan's the same at all times. And when you are that way and you're very secure in who you are as a human being, it really and truly makes a difference. And, you know, I'm a big believer character's going to shine through. When things are tough, Megan Brown is of high character and a young lady that's going to do things right. And, you know, you pull for all your players, but somebody like Megan Brown who really and truly does at her very best to do everything right, and is not going to try to find a shortcut like most teenagers. She's going to really, really work hard. And so, again, we've just got to get a few of our younger players to understand the big picture of that and follow Megan Brown and Megan Brown's leadership.
And it's great that she's still going to have that redshirt senior year coming up next year in a Lady Eagle uniform. Teachable moments this past week, but certainly one the Lady Eagles are, or ones I should say, the Lady Eagles are very anxious to put to good use this week in Boca Raton against the Owls of FAU. We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about that trip and more. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today.
Hey basketball fans, the 2018 Conference USA Basketball Championship presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center at the Star is coming to Frisco, Texas. 24 men's and women's basketball teams playing 22 games will take place at Ford Center at the Star, headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys. Join us for 4 days of exciting hoops March 7th through the 10th with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. For tickets and more information, go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star this March.
As we wrap this edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy Lee McNelis, we're talking about the big road trip coming up this week to Boca Raton and then back home. Very unique set of circumstances, at least in recent memory, to go on the road to Boca, then come back and play the UTEP Miners. And really the theme of this segment is talking about new coaches, new schemes, new personnel, two of the surprise teams in Conference USA. Here they are, and the Lady Eagles get their crack at them.
You know, both teams are playing very well right now, and, you know, Coach Jim Jaber, which is a longtime friend of ours at FAU, has done an unbelievable job at FAU. And, you know that Connor's excited about the opportunity to be able to compete against us. My parents are hoping to go. My mom was saying, you know, we got to make sure your dad's going to be in a Southern Miss shirt and an FAU cap. I said, wait a minute. You need to put a Connor cap on, not an FAU cap on.
I love it.
Because you're cheering for Connor, not FAU. Come on, Mom. She said, but you know, he's our grandson. I said, I understand. So that's going to be a little different situation. And the thing that makes it really different, I think, once the game starts and all that, but, you know, Connor's cut game film for us for 2 years. And he's been around everything we've ever done. And so, you know, he jokes and he'll say, Mom, you know, I know all your calls. And Mom, I know what you do coming out of timeouts. And I say, son, it's a different team. We're doing everything different. But just really proud of him that he's able to be there and thankful that Coach Jim Jaber has given him that opportunity. So again, their team has done very well. Coach Jaber has done an amazing job with that team that really struggled last year. And basically it's the same players because he didn't get in till late and then was not able to really recruit. So they have done a good job, very good job. Talking about the UTEP Miners, you know, they are really good, Josh. I mean, Seda, that was their post player last year and has been a big body inside, has really matured as a post player, and they're solid. You know, my buddy Keitha Green Adams, has always been somebody that has been a dear friend of mine, and she's somebody that's made a big difference at UTEP. She has totally revised that program and created a tradition of just winning. And then she had an opportunity to move closer home, and she's at Wichita State doing a great job there as well. But again, their new coach came in. You don't know. They struggle early because of the new philosophy, and everything's different. But I will tell you, he's done a tremendous job, and they're really playing well right now, really well. And I will tell you, Seda is one of the most improved players in our conference. And just for our fans to know, she's their big post player.
She is. And so who do you like there? If you got to pick one for your all-star team, do you go with Seda or do you go with Naila Jamison-Myers? They're both very good. We're not trying to give anybody bulletin board material. But, I mean, who right now, let's say this, who's playing better right now?
Well, I think they're different. I think Seda's true back-to-basket post player. I mean, she is a true drop-step player, whereas the kid from Charlotte has an opportunity. She can face up and shoot it a little bit more. So I think they're very different. I think they both are very good. They're both very strong rebounders. It's just Seda's going to be the player that pops you in the mouth. You know, she's the more physical, the more aggressive, which would be somewhat different in Kyle for us and Amber Landing for us. There's a difference in their style of play. But I think they both are very talented, Josh.
All right, when I think about coaches and I think about yourself and Connor, and then I think about a coach like Nick Saban, who has had so much success against his former assistants, the coach that's the one that's the teacher, you always save a little something back from the pupil, right? Connor doesn't know all of your tricks, does he?
Not this year, he doesn't. We've had to have a few more tricks this year, especially since Shantae Hales hasn't been with us. They haven't all worked, for sure. But, you know, going back to that Rice game, you know, you were able to see a little bit of confidence in this team. And, you know, honestly, Josh, we're lacking a little bit of confidence. So we've got to pull the old rabbit out of the hat because Connor don't know everything.
Well, it's going to be always fun to talk about that, and it's going to be fun to go back and then tell all the stories from this trip each and every week when you join us out at Georgia Blue for Fast Break with Coach McNelis each and every Monday night from 6 to 7 o'clock. For Craig Adams, for Coach McNelis, I'm Josh West. Thanks for watching as you've been watching Southern Miss Sports Today.